All right, I got it recording, but I should be back here to check on it. Ready?
Recording in progress.
Just want to make sure. Dolores isn't coming tonight, is she, Mike? No. Okay, can I borrow her table then to just spin this around so that. Walk fast. Pointed at the ceiling.
Okay, good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the public hearing for local law number 3 of the year 2023 to order. Would you please start by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. We're here to accept public comment this evening on local law number 3 of the year 2023, sewage sludge disposal law of the town of Thurston. This proposed law is meant to protect the health and well-being of town residents who have been dealing with the effects of land application of sewer sludge for 40+ years. I'd like to note this meeting is being recorded and as well as being transcribed by CSR for reporting to be class. Of great concern to the town board is the town of Casella's request to add Bay Park wastewater treatment facility located in Nassau County to the existing Dixon land spreading permit modification. Nassau County has some of the highest levels of PFAS contamination in their drinking water in the state, and Bay Park has no apparent way to filter PFAS compounds from the sewage sludge. This is alarming, given all sewage sludge has been shown to be contaminated with PFAS compounds, which are being linked, which leach into the ground, water of adjacent landowners, and they are being linked to several negative health effects such as cancer. Keep in mind, Casella came to Thurston after Maine banned the practice of spreading sewage sludge on farmland. As you may well know, on August 10th, Thurston Town Board held an open public comment at the Campbell Savona High School auditorium to accept public comment on a proposed law. The meeting was attended by 70 plus people, including DEC officials who were asked to attend at the request of Governor Hochul. Much of the community spoke in favor of proposed ban. The official transcript of this meeting is posted on the town website. We also conducted a townwide sewer sludge survey, of which we received 48 results, 95 of which wanted the town to move forward with the law banning the disposal of sewage sludge in the law. A copy of the survey is on file with the town clerk. It had originally been the board's intent to hold a final vote this evening on local law number 3. However, the county planner has yet to issue a recommendation. Therefore, we are not able to hold a final vote this evening. She has 30 days to issue her recommendation. Therefore, we can hold the vote. At the latest, we will hold the vote at the beginning of our regular meeting on September 20th. If in the next week or two, she issues her recommendation, I will call a special meeting to hold a vote on local law number 3. So stay tuned to our Facebook page as well as our town website. So prior to public comment, I would like to start by going to pass out Noel and Jen. We have 2 letters. The first is on Wednesday, August 23rd. I was copied on a letter that was sent to New York State Agricultural and Markets Commissioner Richard Ball. It was sent to them by Mary Ryeski. She's the division manager for the Bonneville Organics facility. And I'd like to start by reading this letter, and then I'll follow with my response. Now, keep in mind, this letter as well was sent to David Vitale, who was the commissioner that came to our meeting at the high school. He was requested to come by the governor, as also their lawyers, Mr. West and Cindy Monaco, are copied on it. And they also copied their Albany lobbyist, Dan Plummer, on it as well. So I'll start. Dear Commissioner Ball, I'll wait till everyone gets their letter, and then we'll start.
On the first one. Do you know who that guy is? The bigger guy sitting right next to Mike. He must be a board member.
The letter is also posted on our town website. Apologize if there's not enough copies. Okay. Okay.
My problem is though, I can't control it.
We'll begin. The letter starts out, Dear Commissioner Ball, we are reaching out to you regarding a recent threat to the continued operation of the Bonneville Organics facility. The facility is located in the town of Thurston, Steuben County, New York, and is permitted for land application of biosolids, including sewer sludge, on a number of farms and agricultural districts in the town of Thurston and surrounding towns. We more fully explain below, continued operation of the facility is now being threatened by a newly proposed local law, Town of Thurston, local law number 1, which bans land application of such biosolids from state permitted facilities. More specifically, in terms of pertinent background, on July 21st, 2022, Casella purchased Dixon's Environmental Services, Inc., facility located in the town of Thurston. This acquisition includes the assets of the land application operation that Leo and Dixon and Sons and Dixon Environmental Services operated since the late sixties. The acquisition included 150 acres of which the facility is located, as well as the transfer of land application permit. Casella leases the remaining 2,700 acres for land application, all of which are in the town of Thurston, town of Cameron, town of Bath. The Part 360 land application permit transfer application is in the final stage of review with the New York State DEC Region 8. The Bonnie Hill Organics Facility and all the land application sites are in Agricultural District 1 and Agricultural District 2 in Steuben County. A specific example of reliance on land application of biosolids is Leo and Dixon Sons, which is a third-generation farm. In October of 2021, Dixon sold all livestock and now operates a crop farming operation, growing corn, soybeans, alfalfa. Dixon's had operated a dairy farm in conjunction with Part 360 land application permit since the late 1960s. Dixon's has been dependent on biosolids for soil amendment since the late 1960s. Since the sale of the livestock, there is no longer manure available for land application, and therefore the biosolids are solely being relied on for the nutrients to grow the crops. Land application of Class B biosolids is an improved practice in New York State and supports the New York State Solid Waste Management Plan's efforts to recycle organics that can be used for beneficial use as opposed to disposing of these organics in landfills. In other words, as a matter of public policy, the New York State DEC supports land application of biosolids, and such reduces use of chemical fertilizer, which has adverse environmental impacts and also reduces the amount of organic waste destined for landfill disposal. Moreover, as your office has found in the past, New York State DEC comprehensive regulations regarding land application of biosolids protect public health. In fact, the New York State DEC is presently in the process of creating new standards for land application of biosolids, which will further enhance protections to ensure public health and safety. Importantly, land application of biosolids in lieu of chemical fertilizer has proven to be very beneficial for Dixon's farming operation and for the continued operation of other area farms. The ban of this practice on the farm would be devastating, both financially and agriculturally, due to the rising cost of commercial fertilizer and the benefits of organic fertilizer versus commercial fertilizer. In February 2023, Town of Thurston Local Law Number 1 was passed. This moratorium, as written, did not have an impact on Casella's land application operation because the moratorium only applied to expansions or new Part 360 permitted facilities. The neighboring towns of Cameron and Bath followed with the same moratorium. It says on Monday, August 14th, that's incorrect. On Wednesday, August 16th, the town of Thurston proposed local law number 3 of 2023, a local law regulating the disposal of sewage sludge, effectively banning the land application of biosolids in the town of Thurston. This local law has been categorized as a Type 1 state environmental quality review secret action. The Type 1 action requires coordinated review with all involved agencies and notice to interested agencies. However, the town is only involved the local county planning department, but no state agencies. Casella believes that the New York State DEC is an involved agency because the proposed local law affects by invalidating the facility's longstanding Part 360 land application permit, which currently is in the process of being transferred to Casella. Casella also believes that the New York State Agricultural Markets is an involved agency because the proposed local law directly impairs agricultural practices in New York State. And sound agricultural practices, such as land application of biosolids in agricultural districts, is protected under the Agricultural and Markets Right to Farm. Troublingly, the secret documents also fail to acknowledge any adverse economic impacts from the ban of organic fertilizer. The proposed ban surely will result in, among other things, the increased use of chemical fertilizers with resulting economic impacts and an increased burden on landfills. These issues need to be identified and vetted through the secret process with proper notice to and involvement of involved and interested state agencies. Therefore, we respectfully request your office to intervene prior to the Town of Thurston special meeting on August 28th. Finally, if the Town of Thurston is successful with this ban, precedent will be set. The adjoining towns of Cameron and Bath will follow suit, as they did with the earlier moratorium, effectively closing the facility and their localities will continue to push their agenda throughout the state. This underscores the need for the involvement of your office before the enactment of a local prohibition, which is contrary to state policy and practice. And then she states to reach out with questions. Keep in mind, towns have the ability to enact stricter laws than the state. On Friday, August 25th, 2023, sent a letter to Commissioner Ball on the request of the town board. I copied on this letter State Senator Tom O'Mara, Assembly Member Phil Palmisano, DEC Commissioner Bezos Sagos, David Vitale, DEC Acting Deputy Commissioner, Timothy Walsh, Acting Director of Region 8, Bob Manley, Cameron Town Supervisor, Ronald Smith, Bath Town Supervisor, Mary Rasky, and Mr. West, the lawyer, Casella's lawyer. I wrote, Dear Commissioner Ball, I'm writing in response to the letter sent to you on August 23rd by Mary Rasky, a Casella manager. The letter accurately states that the town of Thurston is considering a local law to ban the spreading of sludge in our town. We are considering adopting a ban on sewage sludge spreading to protect the health and safety of town residents. The town wishes to establish stricter standards than the standards established by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, because we do not believe the DEC standards are sufficient to protect the town residents and the environment from the harms caused by sewage sludge spreading. The residents of our town have experienced many years of sewage sludge spreading and are eager for the town to enact a ban. Recent disclosures about the ubiquitous presence of PFAS in sewage sludge has heightened local concerns. These concerns appear to be supported by recent tests of private drinking water wells near the sludge spreading operation, which showed total PFAS of up to 18.1 parts per trillion. Casella has informed us that they have conducted PFAS testing of the soils at the Dixon fields, but they have not provided any PFAS test results to us. We have requested PFAS test results from DEC for some of the wastewater treatment plants sending sludge to Dixon's, but DEC has not provided any treatment plant PFAS test results to us. Our ban is not intended to violate the right to farm law. As we understand it, the right to farm law does not apply in situations involving public health and safety as sewage sludge spreading does. And I stated we had scheduled a public hearing for this evening, and I invited any members of the Department of Agriculture and Markets to attend if they would like to. I'd like to state, Mary and Ms. Rasky in the letter, she takes issue with the town's secret documents. I will remind you those secret documents that were submitted are draft forms. The final forms will be attached, when and if we pass local law number 3, and an explanation of why we answered the way we did will be included in that. And I'm happy to open to amending any of the answers if we gain evidence, within the next 3 weeks that, this, by banning sewage sludge coming into Thurston, we're going to somehow be adversely affecting the environment. And I don't know if the board has thoughts on that. With that, I conclude my remarks. So we will, at this point, we will begin public comment. So if you want to speak, there's a sign-up sheet here. And so we ask that you, keep your comments. We have for speakers, we ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes. Once everyone has spoken, you may, speak again. And when you come up to speak, please identify yourself, spell your name, and then please state the town you are from.
Michael, just before you
Yes.
start into that, we did have a question on the chat.
Okay.
That you think would be the two of us to
Yep,
answer before.
that's fine.
And you probably be able to answer this. They asked, it was from Michael Fitzgerald from the Finger Lakes Times, asked, what form will the county clerk's recommendation on local law 3B. Is it a recommendation for passage, denial, format only?
So is she issues a recommendation. If she does not, Rachel can speak this, in my understanding, she does not agree that we pass it, we have to have a 4-to-1 vote. If she agrees with it, we have to have a 3-to-2 vote. Rachel, you can confirm that.
Yes, I mean, it's a recommendation whether to adopt the law or not. And their recommendation can be overridden by the super.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell me your two names? Rachel Triber, TREICHLER, and I am the acting town attorney.
Holly Chase, HOLLYCHASC, town council member.
Okay. Any other questions, Holly?
So far that was it.
Okay, all right. So we'll begin with Larry Schilling from Casella. Please come up here to the table.
So Mary's gonna pass out another bit of our attorney. Getting the chair. My name's Larry Schilling, it's SHILLING. I'm a vice president, subway system, and I live in the town of Bath. So, tonight, I just have a few short comments. Casella, we have a reputation of being strong community partners. Supporting youth leagues, our halls, projects that the communities that we operate in, supporting as well. We purchased the operation in Thurston with the same folks. Be a good community partner, we would, help support the things that they want to accomplish. However, the path that we are on stands in the way. The town is now considering passing a law that basically takes our rights away as a business owner in the town, and we were intending to defend those. So the town board, as mentioned, does not properly follow secret, and part of our letter speaks to that from our attorney. But there are other interested agencies. The EAF form, the environmental assessment form wasn't filled out right. Those things are all subject to, if they did pass the law, could be overturned.
It's not a mic, it's just, you just need to speak up. It's just recording what you're saying.
So, sure. And as far as the Sierra Club's test and finding PFAS in the water, all that really did was confirm what everybody knows. PFAS is everything. It's in everybody's water, it's in everybody's blood. And so we know that. And so all they did was confirm what we already know. There is no link directly to sewage sludge application for 30 years. It's been going on. Then, land application is beneficial to the environment. It rebuilds the soil, putting organic matter in, and it avoids disposal at a landfill, which creates greenhouse gases. And so for those reasons, besides the nutrient value, it is important to the environment. We think as long as it's done right, which we intend to do, it will be a benefit for everyone. Casella is committed to protecting the environment, supporting local agriculture, and being a good neighbor. All I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Wayne Wells from Cameron.
My name is Wayne Wells, WAYNE WELLS, and I'm a spokesperson for the Cameron Committee for a Safe Environment. The ruined farms in states that have employed heavy sludge and the destroyed farmers and the expulsion of Casella from the state of Maine begs reasoning behind a need for a ban on sewage sludge use on farms. The truth behind claims of sewage sludge safety is that no one knows the extent of the dangerous chemicals or the interactions of them in any sewage source. PFAS chemicals have barely been studied. At the August 10th Thurston public meeting, an Albany DEC spokesman, Sally Rowland, pronounced sewage biosolids as safe. I wrote to Dr. Rowland asking where she got her authority to declare biosolids as safe, since her PhD is in waste management and confers no such authority. She wrote back, citing two scientists, one in Arizona, Dr. Ian Pepper, who self-admits to being funded solely by the waste industry money, and Dr. Sally Brown of Washington State, who is partially funded by industry and federal money. The question we need to ask is, why did Dr. Rowland, an alumnus of Cornell University, choose to accept industry-funded scientist opinions in states having soil and sewage compositional differences from that in New York over her colleagues at Cornell, Professors Emeritus Donald Bliss and Murray McBride, who have since 1981 to the present consistently and forcefully warned against the use of sewage sludge on farmland. These eminently qualified scientists with a range of expertise in toxicology, soil chemistry, and horticulture have researched the very sludges land applied by the Dixons on our county, Steuben County soils. I reached out to Dr. Brown in Washington State, questioning her current opinion on farm applied sewage sludge in light of the PFAS drinking water and crop contamination crisis in Maine, Michigan, and other states. She never answered my question, but offered a curious comment. Quote, this is a quote from the DEC's prize scientist source. The biosolids are typically applied at rates of 5 tons per acre or less every few years, so you get a big dilution. I don't know about the levels of PFAS in Nassau County drinking water or in their biosolids. Depending on what regulatory values were used for this, may mean that Nassau County is a real problem site. I don't know, end quote. Casella's plan is to apply 15 tons per acre. Additionally, does dilution justify persistent and cumulative PFAS contaminated sludge use for growing our food? Limited studies on PFAS chemicals are suggestive of soil migration into drinking water from contaminated biosolids. New York City's water is protected. So who's going to stand up to protect your constituents' water, if not you, the town of Thurston? Thank you.
You, Wayne. The next speaker is Janet Thigpen.
Hi, I'm Janet Thigpen. That's Thigpen. And I chair the Steuben County Water Quality Coordinating Committee. I share your concerns about local water quality. I share your concerns about environmental contamination. I applaud the efforts of citizens and town officials to educate yourselves and to protect your water quality. But I want the actions that this town takes to be legally defensible. Let's face it, the town of Thurston is likely to wind up in court over this issue. So I'd recommend hiring an attorney with extensive expertise regarding the state laws that give you the authority to adopt whatever you adopt, and that has some experience with the case law associated with those laws. A knowledgeable attorney can first help you to act in a legally defensible manner, not make any mistakes in the process, and then defend you in court if that becomes necessary. I'd also recommend an independent technical assessment of the science involved. Let's face it, these are complicated issues. There are lots of opinions and lots of scientific information that may point in opposite directions. And the legislative findings that are included in your town law should every one of them, be technically sound. So I'd recommend an independent technical reviewer to confirm that each of the supporting documents is scientifically credible, that the summary of the findings of those technical documents is accurately represented in the precise wording of the findings. Not that there's been any necessarily problem with some of those, but we just want a second. I would feel better for the town's sake if you had a second opinion to confirm that those things will withstand legal scrutiny, should that become necessary. One example of the findings is finding Q. So this reports the results of the sampling that was done for PFAS of the local water. Supporting document for this is not a technical report. It does not have authors listed. It does not tell us the credentials of the authors. It's a Sierra Club presentation. Volunteers collected samples. It does not, the report doesn't, the presentation doesn't document their sampling procedures. It doesn't talk about chain of custody, which is important if you have water quality analysis that's going to have to withstand legal scrutiny. You don't know the credentials, the expertise of the person who interpreted the data. These are chemical, public health, and regulatory issues are complex, and the analysis was not done by a certified lab. I agree, their findings are concerning. I'm glad they did it. I think that's useful information. But from a legal perspective, this information should be considered preliminary. Independent testing is needed with analysis by a certified lab. And until that is available, I'd recommend that the town's finding clearly state that this is preliminary information. And this shouldn't preclude the town from implementing temporary precautionary measures until more legally defensive information is available. If there is no contamination of our local resource, then we don't want to burden the farmer and the industry. But if there is contamination, we certainly want to know that, and we want to act accordingly. So the other concern is also with the definitions in the proposed law. I'm worried that they might not be sufficiently precise. The definition for wastewater treatment plant as worded could actually be interpreted by some to include on-site wastewater treatment plants. Talks about facilities that collect sewage and remove contaminants. Every one of our septic systems does that. I don't think the town intends to ban, construction, maintenance, use of septic systems. So I would recommend some rethinking of the wording. So I recommend tabling this motion until the town can get some expertise, both scientific and legal, to help make sure that you're moving in the right direction and you keep yourself out of legal problems. Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker is Hannah from Southern Tier. Plain. Oh, okay. Okay. The same. Covered, okay. But so that's all the speakers we had signed up. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
David Miller. I actually live in the town of Addison, Campbell address, and border Thurston. All right. I printed off a short little paragraph. Answered biologist David Heiner. THC toxic chemicals include cadmium, phyllis, copper, indium. I'm not a very good reader, so you have to bear with me here. I don't even understand some of these words. Indium selenide, cadmium, palladium, deselenide, copper, indium, gallium, deselenide, hydrofluoride, lead, polyvinyl fluoride, silicone triglyceride, a byproduct of distillate silicone is also highly toxic. One of these chemicals here, when it comes in contact with water, gives off a toxic gas. Sounds pretty nasty, don't it? All right, you're worried about the chemicals in your sludge. These are the chemicals in a solar panel. You want to stop the sludge, yet there's a solar farm a quarter mile from my house. All it takes, we are one hailstorm away from an environmental disaster. All right, so if you're going to ban chemicals over here, you need to do the same on the other side of the street. You know, maybe this is a little off from what your public hearing is tonight, but it goes down the same path, chemicals. This is a concern I wanted to bring up, because like I said, we're one hailstorm away from a disaster. And these things, they don't even know how to recycle them yet. At least with the sludge, they've been working on it for years. My biggest concern with Casella, and I've had issues with them before, will they follow the guidelines, and who's going to monitor it to make sure they're only putting X number of tons per acre? There's a big issue there, because your code enforcement officer isn't going to be able to stand there every day when they spread this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with you with the solar panel. All right, anyone else that would like to speak? Well, basically, and they may, give us goodies here and there so they can loot our land more, but yeah, it's basically, there's no financial incentive for the town, as I see it. Yeah, your name, sir? Oh. You. Yep.
People have to identify.
Yeah, did you come up front or not? Okay, so this is Ruth Scudo.
What's supposed to happen? Because this town was for a long time ago period. When the towns told the people, and I live in one of these towns, that you're no longer gonna have your well, and you're no longer gonna have your septic tank. You're gonna go to the system. Well, these towns had to figure out how to take care of this stuff. They're gonna do a very good job of it. I mean, And the facility was trying to make it better. Because the town said, no, you can't have it. You didn't know this, my father had a perfectly good septic system and a well in our backyard. The stepmother, the actual one that took over the house, came to me and said, you won't believe what I gotta do. And she had to give up her well and give up her septic. You tie it into this big ass system. So now you're telling us that we should look at the system. That we should be having a big system to take care of it. And I'm sure the people in Portland and Riverside and Haven's will not be very happy to do anything like that.
So first of all, everyone in Thurston continues to have, private, they can have private wells. But, my responsibility, the board's responsibility is to the residents of Thurston in terms of residents of the city of Corning or of Long Island. It's not my concern. And why do we need to accept all of this sewer sludge from Long Island?
Yeah, I read the back of that now, too, and I talked to these people, and they said that they put it through some kind of a process up there. And then somebody else who works there said, yeah, wait till it gets sealed in the water. So, what do you think?
Thanks, Bruce. Hey, Wayne.
Do I need to repeat my name? Wayne Well, WAYNE, I want everybody to try and understand what drives this. The goals of recycling waste are important, but they must be done correctly. What we're seeing is in sewage sludge that there has not been the scientific study to understand the chemical reactions and the constituents of what makes up sewage sludges from one wastewater treatment plant to the other. So you've got to ask, why is Casella wanting to bring up Long Island sludge to our area to replace 28 already permitted wastewater treatment plants? My thinking is, maybe wrong, but there's money involved because we have a highly dense area or population that is affluent. They have a huge amount of sludge, they got to get rid of it. The pressure goes to the state. This is a political problem to get rid of the state's big problem of pressure without the scientific backing. And I'm going to give you my optimistic, this is speculation. We're in the age of AI. AI and deep learning, I think, are the tools that can analyze sludge, be able to see and understand the complex problems that Dr. Lisk, as a toxicologist, warned against. And if the people of Maine, people of Michigan, had listened to Dr. Lisk in New York State and decided not to go sludge, you wouldn't have farmers being destroyed. You would not have farms being closed down. You would not have cattle being destroyed until the science was there. And if we need to wait for these tools to analyze this sludge, and I'll be the first one if I get the kind of credible scientists that are still warning today not to do this, if they say they're convinced that it's safe, I'm going to be the first one to support it. But I want you to understand that this is a political problem, not solving a recycling of waste that is needed. And it's gotta be done right. If it isn't done right, the economic burden is going to come down like a ton of bricks on this town, my town, Bath, where this stuff is gonna be spread. Long term, it's not gonna affect me. I'm gonna be passing on. But it's gonna happen. And then what do you do? Once the land is contaminated, what do you do? Thank you. Will I speak?
I'm photo these made mistake. I'm cancer fighter and I do not think
Right. Yeah. Any questions, Sally?
No, just clarification on audio.
If there's no other public comment, we'll conclude our public hearing on local law number 3.
What were you from again? The Steuben County Water?
Which is made up of different agencies and organizations with an interest in water quality in the county.
Do you have any interest in testing the waters of Thurston or anything, or, I mean, so I think that's the biggest thing is learning the effects of it on our groundwater, who we all drink and use, and it would be nice if something would get the attention of.
Their product. Before the court, independent person to be overseeing the sample, taking the sample and getting to a lab.
Yes.
And you want them to make it to a certified lab, people swear it up in court, and just scan that.
There's certified tests in the works. Yeah, 'cause what it boils down to is the residents and the safety of residents. I mean, I'm all for them. Great, but is it safely done? That's the main concern. As a board, there's a lot that goes into this. I mean, it's not to say, let's throw a wrench in there. You know, there's a lot that goes into this.
Right, and that's fine if they make money, then they can pay us increased taxes, not just simply give us goodies here and there. That, yeah.
Supports public safety, probably on really solid ground.
Yeah.
Advance public safety, I wonder if we ask for those.
I can agree.
That's my concern.
Daniel G.E.E. of Thurston.
Any other comments? We will, we will continue, we'll wait to hear what the county planner has to say. Continue discussing with our attorneys, Rachel Streichler, and our full counsel Gary Abraham, who I very much appreciate the help they provide to the town. And with that, I guess do we have a motion to adjourn the public? That was a motion, can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing on local law number 3, to year 2023? Makes the motion. Then seconds, and all in favor? Aye.